The Daily Mail just dropping this piece as we signed off from the 2:00 hour. And there's something in here that's relevant to something we've been discussing. The headline of the piece is Anguished Savannah Guthrie Rushes to $1.2 million Desert Hideaway Amid FBI Search at Sister Annie's Home and as 5 p.m. ransom deadline looms. And it's all about how she, her brother, her sister, and they say her brother-in-law have moved into this mansion, which is in a gated community, which is good, as they wait this thing out. And we'll refrain from giving any of the other details of where they're staying since it's unnecessary. But almost as a throwaway in here, you guys, the Daily Mail, which is the one that broke the news that she wasn't attending church in person, that Nancy Guthrie was attending it online via a live stream that was not visible to the congregants, leaving us all to wonder how would the family have been alerted that she wasn't at church, answers its own question in here without really calling attention to the fact that they've solved a mystery of their own creation. They write, they're going through the timeline of the night in question. Her pacemaker disconnected from an app on her phone, suggesting she had moved out of range. And then they write, the alarm was not raised until the following day when Nancy failed to join a group of friends who had been due to watch an online service at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church together that morning. At 11:56 a.m., Nancy's family arrived to her home and so on. So that if that's true, that she wasn't going, I mean, it's kind of odd. She wasn't going to church since COVID, presumably because of the germ factor. I don't know. But she was gathering with friends to watch the church. Like if you gather with whatever, that may have been her habit. If that's true, then it would explain how things went down that morning, but it would not clear up the discrepancy in the timing as the police changed the timeline dramatically at that Thursday presser. You know, Nanos was all over the news media saying that the family had arrived at the house around 11:10 and didn't call them until 11:57. Just after noon. And he was like, it took him an hour to look for her. And then at that presser, he just completely changed it to, it only took him 7 minutes to call us. They arrived at 11:57 and they called at 4 after. That has not been explained. But if that's true about her watching generally the online service with friends and she didn't show up to the friend group, that would explain it, I think. Okay, but now I want to shift to discussing what they were searching, you guys. They went to the back of the property, Nancy's property, and they removed this, we're calling it a manhole cover because that's what it looks like. And they shoved like some long pole down there. We believe it might have been a water tank of some sort because it doesn't look like a septic tank given how casual the guy is. He's not dressed in a mask or anything. And we reportedly put a metal detector down there. So what do you think is happening here, Chad?
Yeah, I think, first of all, with the metal detector aspect, they're going to see if any type of, weapon was disregarded into this area. I think that's a mixture of a weapon or also looking for a body. Listen, we do have confirmation that there are agencies out there conducting grid searches. Now, I think I asked on Friday, or it might have been yesterday, with a team of people we were discussing this. They said there's not a lot of grid searching going on right there in that immediate area. I find that very interesting. Now, granted, I've pulled this location up on a map. I've looked at the topography of it, and we do see, we have seen some maps being attached to vehicles. I would assume that there would be an intense grid search going on. And if there's not an intense grid search going on, it makes me believe that the Bureau is truly believing she is not in that immediate area. But good police work, I'm not trusting these kidnappers. I'm still going to conduct a grid search, of all over that area. I'm going to put guys on horseback. I'm going to have BORTAC come in because they are very good at working in that type of terrain. But it would be interesting, Megan, I know you've got some of your team that should be arriving pretty soon. So I would love to know what it looks like around the area of that residence. Or is there boots on the ground searches being conducted in that immediate vicinity? And also,
we did hear on Saturday night that they did a grid search. They used that term, grid search, Saturday night over at Nancy's property. We talked about the search at Annie's property, but at Nancy's property, they had a grid search going as well, we were told.
Well,
And Chad, they also had these maps laid out like on the side of their vehicles, like the side of a Jeep or an
yeah.
SUV. They're showing it here, or a pickup truck. And can't quite see it from here, but it's the neighborhood. It's like the streets of this neighborhood. And obviously they're very interested in, I don't know what they're searching for. Is it a weapon? Is it Nancy?
Well,
I mean,
I would
I
have a
heard,
lot better direction on this, Megan, if we also knew if have we seen dogs on the ground? Are we using bloodhounds? Are we using cadaver dogs? Are we using patrol dogs that or that can conduct article searches? There, canines can I can give them a command, and anything with human odor on it, whether it's a car key, evidence can be found by canines. These are all questions. And look, we've had drones up, news drones up, we've had news helicopters up. I have not seen many dogs being deployed out in that area. But again, I'm not there. These are questions that I would love to know.
I heard a former FBI agent speaking with Brian over the weekend, saying, obviously the animal factor is very dark to consider, but you do have to consider it because they gave up the search and rescue within 24 hours. And so if, God forbid, Nancy were killed and left out in that desert, anything could have happened to her by now. And if her remains are gone, so is evidence. But this FBI agent, Jim, was talking about how the FBI would have her, as a matter of course, if they're searching an area like this, like in the desert, they would gather animal scat, meaning like feces, and they would examine it for bones and human hair, not all of which can be digested even by an animal. So like the game is not necessarily over if, God forbid, you're trying to find a murder victim and the animals have gotten to this person before the searchers have. I know this is all extremely macabre, but this is what guys like you have to think about.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with research done on body farms, which people donate their bodies, and academics and law enforcement. They put the bodies out in various types of terrains, underground, above ground, cold, warm, with animals, with insects, and a lot of different things have been learned over the last few years, last quarter of a century really, since I know it's been going on. So they are very aware.
Wait. Can you just explain that? Are you saying that like somebody who, instead of donating their body to science to be like a cadaver in a med school, they donate it to a body farm so people can just see what happens to it if you put out in the wilderness?
Oh, and there's video cameras they put on the bodies, and they test it every day, temperatures. I mean, all kinds of factors. So we know strictly for these types of operations, and none of us want to go here today about Nancy Guthrie, but these are factors that they're flying in other teams. Into this task force area in Tucson, and that they're saying, hey, this is our specialty. Let us go out and do this. So, of course, they're looking into whether they're wells, septic tanks, whatever they are, with different types of devices. And Megan, it was early last week, I think I said to you, I'm hoping they really check the property of Mrs. Guthrie, including the pool room where the filter chlorinator is kept, and, of course, by extension, any type of a well on her property, water tower in the area, anything like that. So this is very logical they have to do. I'll tell you, and Chad can relate to this, I'm sure. No investigator out there, nor his or her supervisor, when we'll just say Mrs. Guthrie is found, wants to be the one to say, why didn't you check there? Didn't we tell you to do that? Or isn't that, forensics 101 or, grid search 101? So they want to make sure they're covering every track. But not just for that reason, because they want to get it done right. And they've had a week now, over a week. And they're now looking at every single option that they may not have explored. And quite frankly, they should go over it again. I've been in cases where local law enforcement academies, the recruits, they could be in for 2 weeks or 2 months. They're emptied, and maybe 40 or 60 people are not getting as many recruits anymore as they used to. But certainly they would bring them in, bust them in. They're the ones doing these crime scene grid searches. And they really should be doing that. Every single square inch of that area should be searched, search warrants or not, if they're needed, to look for shallow graves. And there's ground penetrating radar that's out there, and that's very sophisticated. You can find movement of the earth. You can see that from above. So there's all kinds of things they're going to do, and that's why I said this team is it's bifurcated. We're working the kidnapping. We're working that someone else just took her and dropped her off. And of course, there are sub teams on each one of those trying to put this together. New people are flying in from all different types of agencies. They come up with ideas. Sure, nothing's worked so far. Let's go out and check this place. And that's kind of what they're doing there.
I mean, I hate to say it, but the pacemaker would still be there. You know, I mean, the pacemaker is not something that an animal would consume. I'm sorry to get so graphic. It's just as we see them doing grid search after grid search in her backyard, I think we all know exactly what they're looking for. One of two things: clues from the kidnapper / perpetrator and or Nancy and her remains. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, that's why you do a grid search generally, and you're looking for evidence. And I saw them put that metal detector down there, Chad, and all I could think was, would it detect a pacemaker? Would a metal detector? And I actually just did a quick search online. It was like, well, it might. It actually might. And they give people who have pacemakers, it sounds like kind of conflicting advice about going through a magnetometer. Like maybe just tell people who are going to wand you that you have it. They tell them it's not going to hurt you if you get wanded, but like you don't want the wand to linger in front of the pacemaker for too long because it could kind of change the wavelength or whatever. But it's possible that they were hoping to catch, you know, that piece of metal. And maybe that could be an identifying, God forbid the worst has happened, an identifying thing that is left behind. Sorry, again, it's dark, but that's the story that we're covering. The other thing they seized, Chad, and maybe it's just what you guys are saying, was now they seized Nancy's car. Now. I mean, literally a week after she went missing. But there's not, as far as I know, even an allegation that she drove this car during any of the relevant time frame.
Well, not just that. We also know that why didn't, you know, she may have had a car, but we also know we're dealing with an 84-year-old lady with a lot of health conditions. You know, questions that we haven't heard is, does she still actively drive? And if she does, you know, is it possible, you know, that she was out driving and there is trace DNA from someone that was in her car, whether it is a worker, a home, again, going back to the home health care or someone else. I think that is just good police work to do a complete analysis of that vehicle as well, and see if there were any fibers in that vehicle. Again, we have to do.
Like you could have had a situation where they were dragging her out of the house and they
brushed
said,
up against
put her in the car for a second while we get ready. Yeah, like in other words, why wouldn't you check it? Why wouldn't you take that down to the lab and swab every inch of it? But wait, that just reminded me. Think about the timeline. Friday night, we saw a video, courtesy of Fox News, of them on the rooftop finding that camera. There is 100% a camera on the top of Nancy Guthrie's roof. And earlier that week, it had been circulating online, and I had seen it myself. There was a post by Nancy Guthrie online, I don't know, a while back. It was a couple of years ago, saying, what's the best camera for watching wildlife? And various people weighed in. She wanted to see like the coyotes in her backyard, who, again, are mostly nighttime creatures. So it is possible, you guys, that camera did have some sort of a recording capacity to it. Clearly, the Pima County Sheriff missed it because he wouldn't have left a camera sitting there from Sunday to Friday if he knew about it. And it does get kind of interesting that it was Friday night that President Trump later made his comments. International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years, and a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind, given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold. so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.